What is up, you guys? Welcome to the video. In today's video, as you can tell by the title, I want to talk about how I went from only doing bodybuilding style training to now how I have such a love for CrossFit. I feel like there's a couple things that led up to me, deciding to try CrossFit and ending up falling in love with it. So I thought it would be kind of cool to give you guys a little bit of a backstory and just show you guys why, I've gotten to where I am now with my love for CrossFit. Now, before we get into the bodybuilding and before we get into the CrossFit, I do kind of want to talk a little bit about my childhood. I know that sounds kind of funny, but I really think a lot of the things that happened when I was younger and just the mindset that I had have really kind of shaped me who I am now and made it to where I did fall in love with CrossFit, and maybe is a part of the reason why I've kind of fallen so hard in love with this style of training. So yeah, I do want to talk about my childhood a little bit before we get into the other styles of training. Now, growing up as a kid, I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to this, especially if you're from America. I really loved watching football. It was literally like my favorite thing to do. It was honestly like everything to me. I loved the San Diego Chargers, who are actually now the LA Chargers, which is very strange, but I loved watching them. Like, my family loves football, so that was something that I watched all the time. And I always wanted to be a football player. Like, if someone were to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would have told them I want to be a football player. I wanted to be a linebacker. Like, I loved the thought of like just smashing into someone, and like it was a lot of fun. And as a kid, I played football growing up. Now, granted, I never played tackle football because my family has always been kind of tight on money, so we couldn't afford it. It was pretty expensive compared to the flag football, which is what I played. And I was actually already over the weight limits when I would try to join. So I just never was able to play. So fast forward a little bit into 9th grade. I'm in high school now, and in high school, obviously, there's football teams, right? So I was like so excited, you guys, to join the football team at my high school. Like, I was literally looking forward to it all of my 8th grade year. So fast forward, we're in 9th grade, first tryouts, and I remember it was just, honestly, I've talked about this a little bit on the channel before, but it was like one of the worst days for me. It was one of the worst experiences that I've ever had. I went out to try out, and basically all of the dudes there were just making fun of me because I was by far the heaviest person there that was trying out for the team, and like the kids that had already played like last year and that were on varsity and stuff like that, they were just making fun of me. They were kind of ruthless. Like, we did the outside drills. Obviously, I was the last person around the lap for the quarter-mile run, and then we got into the weight room, and this is genuinely the first time I'd ever stepped foot into a gym or anything like that, right? So they're doing like squats and deadlifts and like all of these compound movements that I have never tried before in my entire life. But they just throw me right under the bar with, granted, it's only 135 pounds, and now to me that's nothing, but at the time, I was in 9th grade, never lifted weight in my life. Like, the bar was just placed on my neck. Like, it was just a terrible experience. I couldn't squat it. I didn't even know what to do. I racked the weight, and they were like, man, you're the biggest dude here, and you can't even squat that weight. And it just literally like crushed me. And it's one of those things that I honestly am so upset. Like, there's not many things that I really wish that I could change, and even saying that, I'm not sure if I would change it, but it's just one of those things that it just makes me upset to this day when I think back of just letting those people, kind of dictate what I did in high school. Because if I would have just like stuck with it and just tried and just like went for it no matter what they said, like, I can't even imagine what could have been. But at the same time, I wouldn't be where I am now. So it is what it is. It's one of those things that just kind of sucks, but at the same time, I am who I am because of it, so you can't really be too mad about it. The whole 4 years I'm in high school, I'm always thinking to myself, like, man, it would be cool to play football, like, because I was still watching football all the time, you know what I mean? I would go to the games and stuff, but I just never tried out again because it just kind of scarred me. Fast forward, where I'm 20 years old, I start losing my weight. And obviously, the first style of training that most people have is bodybuilding. That you watch bodybuilding shows, you just like, you look at pictures and stuff, and these people are shredded, they look really good, and obviously that was appealing to me because I had started losing weight, and I've talked about this before too, is when I first started losing weight, I wasn't going into the gym, but I was looking at stuff, and I would see people, and I would think to myself, like, man, it would be really cool to go from, morbidly obese to like have a nice physique and be able to like look nice and stuff like that, right? So obviously the first style of training that I fell in love with, and when I say fell in love with, like literally bodybuilding and physique and stuff like that, it literally changed my entire life because I was able to go from morbidly obese to eventually stepping foot on a men's physique stage and like literally shirtless and like posing and against other people, and it was honestly one of the best experiences of my life. And like, I will never ever say anything, you know, bad about that experience. Like, oh, obviously, I don't want to say that. I will never say that. I'm definitely glad that I did that. That's the best way to put it, because there was definitely some parts of that that were not the healthiest, and that kind of brought me to where I am now. But before we get into that, you know, I fell in love with that style of training. Like, I genuinely, and I still do it. Like, people think that I don't do bodybuilding anymore. I absolutely still do bodybuilding. I just got done with the chest workout literally like 30 minutes before I started filming this. So it's still something that I'm very much in love with, but I've just found another thing that I really, really enjoy. I end up doing the Men's Physique show, and this is important, and this is, you know, another reason why I was able to get into CrossFit. So doing the Men's Physique show, obviously for a while I did a bulking phase where I was eating kind of a little bit more loosely than normal, so I had gained a little bit of weight, which was on purpose, you know, to gain a little bit of fat and muscle, to hopefully when you shred down, the fat goes away and hopefully most of the muscle stays, right? That's kind of the concept. So I did that, but then during the cut, it started to not be fun anymore. And when I say that is because, like, I really put my whole heart into that, and I didn't go about it like, you know, just kind of trying or half trying. Like, I really went into it like trying to do my absolute best, and trying to do, and I really think I did, like, I don't think I did anything too drastic at all by any means. So, like, the fact that people do shows like that all the time, it blows my mind. But so I went into the cut, and after a while, like towards the end, I was just burnt out. Like, I wasn't really enjoying my time in the gym as much. I wasn't really, you know, enjoying being in the gym. I really didn't feel like athletic at all. And the whole time I was doing bodybuilding, I didn't really feel that athletic because, you know, I wasn't doing much cardio. I wasn't jumping or running or moving my body other than like doing pressing and lat pull downs and, you know what I mean, like squats and stuff. So I wasn't really like moving my body the way that I kind of thought as a kid, you know, watching football players and then being athletic and then being able to move. Like, I didn't feel like that. Like, I had lost all the weight, but I still never felt like I was athletic. I still never felt like I could go to the track and run and like play football with my friends and feel like I'm like able to run faster and stuff, because I just honestly never did that stuff, right? I ended up doing the Men's Physique show, honestly one of the best days of my entire life. Like, such a good day. And I remember how excited I was, like, once I, you know, got done with the Men's Physique, like, I was able to, you know, with the show, I was able to eat a little bit more food, and like, I was like, okay, cool, like, I'm enjoying training a little bit more, but it just never, like, I don't know, I still felt like, man, I really wish I could be more athletic. Like, I want to be more athletic. And I honestly am probably like some of you guys watching, I'm sure a lot of you guys watching this video right now, I was probably a lot like you when it came to CrossFit. Like, I'm never someone to really talk bad about stuff, so it's not like I would make posts and like say anything negative about CrossFit, but I was on the internet, I was on YouTube, so obviously I was watching the videos of like the CrossFit fails, and I saw that stuff. And if someone came up to me before I started doing CrossFit and said like, hey, I want to start doing CrossFit, what do you think? I would have been probably the first person to be like, I don't know about that, it's kind of dangerous, or I don't know about that, you might lose your gains, or I don't, you know what I mean? Like, because I didn't know anything about it. I never thought that I would do, that's the reason I'm saying all this, I never thought that I was going to do CrossFit. My brother actually ends up starting to do CrossFit, and obviously you guys see how close we are now, so he's starting to do CrossFit. He's really, really loving it, and I remember thinking like, man, he really likes this a lot, and I don't really see why. I wasn't really understanding. And then he tells me to watch, there's a Rich Froning documentary. If you don't know who that is, he's like a 4 times games winner. Like, he's like literally the man when it comes to CrossFit, right? So he has a documentary on, I think it's on Hulu, and then there's a documentary of the 2015 CrossFit Games on Netflix called The Fittest on Earth. He had me watch both of those videos, and I watched them, and I just remember thinking like, this is crazy. Like, just how I just was in awe, honestly. Like, I was blown away. I was blown away by what the people were able to do, and the community that seemed like it had, and which I had no idea was as great as it is. And I was in awe. And so obviously he was like, if you want to come do a CrossFit workout with me, you totally can. And you guys have seen the videos, you know what I mean? I ended up doing the first workout, and I remember thinking to myself like, okay, so I'll probably do this maybe 2 times and maybe 3 times a week, but mainly I'll stick to my bodybuilding, and then I'll just use CrossFit as like something, you know, on the side to do that I kind of enjoy doing. And then obviously that didn't last for very long, because now I do CrossFit almost every single day, and I genuinely feel like it's just something that I'm just really thankful for it. Now, the reason that I feel like I have such a passion for it is because of the connections that it's given me and like the community that it's brought me, which is really, really huge for me, because as someone that like, you know, started from wanting to be on that football team, wanting to have that community, because, you know, when I was a kid, I would play flag football and I was on teams and I was with this group of people and we felt like we were together, right? Like, I wanted that when I was in high school, but I didn't have it. And in bodybuilding, it's like, you know, you're kind of doing your own thing, and going into like a CrossFit gym and just having all these people that are super excited to see you. You guys are doing the same workouts together, and all of this stuff, it just all made sense to me. So like, that's why I kind of wanted to tell you about, you know, the football thing and how I wanted to be on a team, because I really feel like that's a big reason why I, you know, have kind of fallen in love with CrossFit so much. And then obviously there's just the whole community aspect too, with like my friends at the gym that I go to. All my coaches are really, really nice. But then obviously, you guys, if you guys have been watching the channel recently, when I went to LA, like I made one of my best friends, like honestly, I consider Craig, who I'm talking about, like one of my best friends right now. And I wouldn't have met him if it wasn't for CrossFit. And like, that was the first thing that we had in common, and it's really brought me and him like a lot closer, and like, that's just really cool to me. Like, I made this friend from overseas. He freaking lives in England, or well, he lives in the UK. And if it wasn't for CrossFit, like, we wouldn't have connected so much, and we wouldn't have become such great friends. And like, my time in LA was so much better because of CrossFit and all the things I was able to do, all the people I was able to meet. Like, I was able to visit all of these different gyms, and it was just really, really cool. And it was, I just honestly, like, I can't explain how much I genuinely am just thankful for finding this. And like, obviously, like, I'm not trying to make this video to at all bash any type of training. Like I said, I still do bodybuilding. It's still something that I love doing. I still do, you know, I still love that style of training. And this video is not to bash that. And also, it's not to try and get everyone to do CrossFit, because I'm one of those people that believe that not everybody will enjoy CrossFit and not everybody will benefit from it. Or like, I think that you should find what you enjoy and just do that. If that's bodybuilding and you really love bodybuilding, then do that. And if it's CrossFit and you really enjoy CrossFit, then do that. I don't see the point of people hating on either or, and this comes from both. Like, obviously I don't see why bodybuilding hates on CrossFit, but it goes both ways. I don't see why people in CrossFit gyms will talk crap about bodybuilding and like this style of training. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, if it's something that you're doing and it's making you feel better about yourself, then just do it, and you don't need to worry about what someone else is doing. You know, I don't care what someone else is doing in the gym. I don't care what someone else is doing in another CrossFit gym. Like, they can do whatever they want as long as it's making them happy and they're not hurting anyone else in, you know, in their, you know, quest to find fitness or in their quest to, you know, make themselves happy. Why is that an issue to me? It's not. So I love bodybuilding and I love CrossFit. I like doing both workouts. I don't see an issue with that. Obviously, there's the people that would be like, oh, the form is terrible in CrossFit gyms, and like, it's like it's really bad, and like, people are always getting injured. But I know personally from personal experience, and this isn't me trying to like, I've seen terrible form in CrossFit gyms. Absolutely, 100%. I will not argue that fact, even for a second. I will not. But also, I've seen some really, really terrible form at a regular gym where there's nobody coaching that person, and they're just trying to do a bench press, and they're just like, or a squat and stuff. Like, nobody's saying anything to them, because the personal trainers that work at that gym aren't going to say anything to them because they're not getting paid to talk to that person. And so like, I've seen terrible form in all aspects. Now, like I said, I'm not trying to say that CrossFit has the best form. Obviously, no. Like, we've all seen the memes, right? But I think it comes down to the individual. Like, for me personally, I really try and focus on having the best form ever. Now, is it perfect? No, absolutely not. But it's something that I'm working on and something that I want to get better at. So, like, I just don't understand the hate, why people feel like they need to hate on one or the other. Like, just find something that you enjoy, that you really love doing, and just do it. And if it makes you healthier, if it makes you happier, then I'm all for it. So, I just kind of wanted to, you know, make this video to kind of hopefully answer some of the questions, because a lot of people have been asking me, like, why are you doing CrossFit? What got you into CrossFit? Why do you, like, should I do CrossFit? Blah, blah, blah. So hopefully this video kind of, you know, gave you a little bit of insight into my mind, into, you know, how I got to where I am now. And it just, again, I just want you guys to find something that you enjoy and just start doing it, because that's the main thing when it comes to fitness. You know, if you are able to find some sort of fitness, it doesn't matter what. It could be swimming, biking, running, CrossFit, bodybuilding, powerlifting, Olympic weightlifting, whatever it is. Just give it a shot try all of this stuff and find out what you enjoy doing the most and just do that, because when you're able to find a training style that you enjoy, or a fitness, some sort of fitness that you enjoy, sticking to your goals and sticking to, if it's a weight loss goal, or if it's just being more fit, or if it's just, you know, enjoying life a little bit better, being a little bit more healthy, if you find something that you genuinely enjoy and you love doing, it will make it so much easier. It really will, and that's why I'm just so thankful that I found these two awesome things that I love doing so much, and I love sharing with you guys. Again, this is not me trying to bash on bodybuilding. This is not me trying to make everyone do CrossFit. I just want to share my experience with you guys, okay? So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I hope it gave you a little bit of insight. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. There was one other thing that I wanted to say. Oh yeah, look how buff I am.
Obey the warning signs, and when there are flashing lights or wigwags, don't attempt to cross until they come to a complete stop.